Oh, hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Growing with Professor Brown. Have you ever wondered what kind of plants would grow best in your garden? Or perhaps what kind of irrigation you should use, or how often or how long to water? Now, all of these questions are much easier to answer once you understand what kind of soil texture you have. And today, we're going to figure that out. Stick around. Soil texture is all about the size of the particles that make up your soil: sand, silt, and clay. These different particle sizes impact how your soil behaves, how it drains, how it holds onto nutrients, and how roots move through it. Think of particle size like this. If sand were the size of a basketball, silt would be like a pea, and clay would be like a speck of dust. If you stack up a bunch of basketballs, there will be larger spaces between them than the spaces between peas or dust. This is why air and water moves easier in a sandy soil than a clay soil. That's why understanding texture helps you avoid over or underwatering your plants. Before you start any soil test, you want a good soil sample. I like to collect soil from a few different spots around the garden bed and mix it together. This helps average out any irregularities. If you have a soil probe, it's a great way to get a clean sample from several inches deep. A trowel works just fine too. Just be sure to avoid the very top layer, especially if it's covered in mulch or compost, since that can skew your results. Make sure to pick out any roots or other pieces of organic matter and rocks. Break up any large clumps before you start the test. First up is the mason jar test. It takes about 24 hours to complete, but it gives you a clear visual of your soil's texture. Step 1. Fill a clean jar about 1/3 of the way with soil from your garden. Step 2. Again, remove any rocks, mulch, and large clumps you missed when collecting your sample. Step 3. Add water to the top, leaving about an inch or two of space. Step 4. Add just a drop of dish soap. This helps the soil particles separate. Step 5. Now shake it hard for at least a full minute. Step 6. Set it down somewhere still and let it settle for 24 hours. We'll come back and look at the results a little later. Once it's fully settled, the particles will separate by size. Sand sinks to the bottom, silt forms a layer above that, and clay settles last. You might see organic matter floating. Don't count that. Even a small difference in thickness can shift your soil classification, so measure carefully. Once you have your percentages, download the NRCS Soil Texture Calculator. Just enter the values for sand, silt, and clay, and it will plot your results on the soil texture triangle. This triangle classifies your soil into a texture type, like sandy loam, clay loam, or silty clay. Each class gives insights into how your soil behaves and what it might need. For example, if you find out your soil is sandy loam, you might choose plants that don't mind quick drainage and prefer drier conditions. If your soil is clay-heavy, you'll need to be more careful with watering and aeration. Next, we have the soil ribbon test. The ribbon test is a quick, hands-on way to get a feel for your soil texture. Take some moist soil, not too wet, just damp enough to mold. Form it into a ball in your hand. Press it between your thumb and forefinger and try to make a ribbon. If it won't hold a ribbon at all, you likely have sandy soil. And if it stretches into a long, sticky ribbon, you're probably working with clay. It's not a perfect science, but it's a great way to gauge your soil on the fly, especially if you don't have time for the full mason jar test. So why does this matter? Because knowing your soil texture helps you work with your garden rather than against it. Sandy soil drains fast. You might need to water more frequently. Clay soils hold water longer, so they don't need to be watered as often. They absorb water slowly. It's best to water deeply, but slowly, to avoid runoff and to make sure moisture reaches the root zone. Irrigation choice matters too. In clay soil, water moves slowly, so drip irrigation is ideal. In a sandy soil, you might use a soaker hose or overhead watering, since traditional drip systems might apply water too slowly and unevenly in fast-draining soils. Soil texture even helps you choose the right plants. Some plants love sandy, quick-draining soil. Others prefer heavier, moisture-retentive soils, like clay. Knowing what you have is the first step in building a thriving garden. Be sure to check the tags of any plants you're thinking about buying from the nursery. Before you run off to try mixing sand into your clay to loosen it up, don't do that. Mixing sand into clay doesn't help it drain. It turns it into concrete. You can't easily change your soil's texture, but you can improve its structure by adding organic matter like compost and by growing plants that help condition your soil over time. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe. And if you completed the soil texture test, drop a comment and let us know what kind of soil texture you have in your neck of the woods. We'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. What kind of soil texture did you have in your soil test? Leave us a comment and let us know what kind of soil texture you're dealing with in your garden. Soil texture, soil texture, soil texture. Did I mention you have to take a shot every time I say soil texture?